Good afternoon. I'm back with our fifth and final presentation regarding awarding qualifications. This is a lengthy but important communication because it details the awarding of grades and the appeals process. There's lots of information in it which you may need to refer to on results days. I'll start with our timeline and where we are currently at. We spent the time since May half term examining the evidence for each student in each subject from every assessment that we said would contribute. This has informed the grades that teachers and subject areas have proposed for students. As a senior team, we've then scrutinised this evidence to make sure it is in line with the awarding body guidance. Your grades were then uploaded to the exam boards on Friday, June the 18th. As a result, exam boards have now asked for samples of evidence relating to students and subjects to check that we're following both the Ofqual guidance and our own policies. We are working with them this week to give them the supporting evidence they are asking for. This is being done so that we are in a position to hold results days for A-levels and Key Stage 5 courses on August the 10th and GCSE and Key Stage 4 courses on August the 12th. The next part of my presentation will give you information on your right to appeal and the process that sits behind this. So grades this summer were based on teacher assessed grades or tags. Tags were submitted to the exam boards by us as holistic assessment of students' performance in a subject, following a rigorous process of assessment, moderation and quality assurance. These grades were then approved by the relevant exam board following external quality assurance checks. In some cases, the tags we submitted may have been reviewed by the exam board, who may have asked us to submit an alternative grade. However, any changes to the grades we've submitted were done by professional teachers or reviewers, and this year no grades have been changed as a result of an algorithm. All students have the opportunity to appeal their grade if they meet the eligibility criteria. It's important to note that an appeal may result in a grade being lowered, staying the same or going up. So if a student puts in an appeal and their grade is lowered, they will receive the lower mark. There's also the option to resit GCSEs, A-levels and some AS levels in the autumn, which may be preferable to some students. The design, content and assessment of these papers will be the same as in a normal year. So what are the grounds for appeal? Well, there are four main grounds for appeal as dictated by the Joint Council for Qualifications or JCQ. They are, number one, you think we've made an administrative error. An example of this would be putting the wrong information into a spreadsheet. Number two, you think we've made a procedural error. This means we haven't properly followed our own process as approved by the exam board. An example of this would be where you've been told you should have received extra time for assessments, but this wasn't given in a certain subject. Number three, you think the academic judgment on the selection of evidence was unreasonable. So you think the evidence used to grade you was not a reasonable set of evidence. Or number four, you think the academic judgment on the grade you were given was unreasonable. They are the only four grounds that an appeal can be made. So what does unreasonable mean? Unreasonable is a technical term in this context and means that no educational professional acting reasonably could have selected the same evidence or come up with the same grade. This means that just because other forms of evidence may have been equally valid to use, the selection of evidence is not unreasonable. Because of the flexibility of the approach this year, every school and college will have used different forms of evidence. It also means that the independent reviewers will not remark or grade students' evidence. Instead, they will look to see whether any teacher acting reasonably could have arrived at the same grade. And what's the outcome of the appeal? So at either stage of the appeals process, a student's grade may go up, it may stay the same, or it may go down. When placing an appeal, the student will have to sign a declaration saying that you accept the fact that your grade may go down and that you may get a lower grade than the originally awarded tag. So before you appeal, it's important that you read the JCQ Student and Parent Guide, which will be available on the JCQ website by results days. We may not be able to offer as much advice and guidance on the likely success of an appeal this summer as we would in normal years, as we've already moderated and quality assured all the grades ourselves. There are two stages to an appeal. and all appeals on any of the grounds must first go through a centre review. So that's as a school reviewing that. At this stage, we will check for any administrative errors and check that our policies and procedures were followed correctly. Our policy has already been approved by the exam boards, so we are only ensuring that we followed this properly. The outcome of the centre review will be communicated to students when it is made. At the centre review stage, if we find that a grade should go up or down, we'll ask the exam board to change it. They will then consider this request. Following the outcome of a centre review, students may still choose to pursue an awarding organisation appeal. You must fill in the form, which is available on the website, which we will then send on behalf of you to the exam boards. Students and parents cannot send appeals directly to the exam board themselves. It must come from us. And then the outcome of the awarding organisation appeal will be communicated to students when it is made. There are something called a priority appeal, and a priority appeals will be handled more quickly than any other appeal where possible before UCAS's deadline of the 8th of September. Priority appeals are only open to A-level students starting university this autumn who have missed out on their conditions of their firm or insurance offer. If you decided not to confirm a firm conditional offer and to go through clearing instead, JCQ will not offer you a priority appeal. JCQ cannot offer priority appeals for GCSE students either, unfortunately. When making a priority appeal, students will have to include their UCAS number so it can be confirmed that it is a genuine priority appeal. The suggested deadline for priority appeals is the 16th of August. You cannot make any appeal before the results days on the 10th. If you wish to progress this to an awarding organisation appeal, you must send the completed form to us by the 23rd of August. At both stages of the appeals process, there may be the need for specialist or expert knowledge from subject teachers or from the SENCO. This may not be possible in August. In such cases, we may have to wait until the start of term, but priority appeals will still be treated as a priority. So what happens if you don't get into your first choice university? I'd say firstly, don't panic. You need to speak to Miss Raywood or someone in the sixth form team or part of the senior leadership team about your options. You may wish to go through clearing, or you may sit the autumn exams or summer exams next year to try and improve your grade. If you're going to appeal your grade, you must let your university know you are appealing. They will then let you know whether they will hold a place for you pending the outcome, but universities are not obliged to hold a place for you. It is at their discretion. Following results days, students should fill in the first section of a JCQ form if they want to make an appeal. That information is available on our website, and you would send it to our specific email address, results@lutterworthcollege.com. How you find the form, you go through the links that I've detailed there on this page. So non-priority appeals are any A-levels, GCSEs or vocational qualifications where a firm or insurance university place is not pending. The deadline for submitting a centre review is the 3rd of September, and the deadline for submitting an awarding organisation appeal is the 10th of September. Any appeals received after these dates may still be considered. As the awarding process draws to a close, I'd firstly like to thank parents for their support throughout this period of uncertainty. Your support has been invaluable to both your children, but also staff who've been working tirelessly to ensure students get the qualifications their efforts deserve. However, the biggest well done must go to our own students. The past 18 months have seen their world repeatedly tipped upside down, and you've had to change and adapt everything you've ever known. Combined with the pressures of making everything count, I cannot commend you enough for how hard you've worked and how focused you've been. Despite what the headlines the media may spin this summer, I can say with utter confidence that as students you have done yourselves proud and your efforts are justly reflected in the grades. You've worked for them and you've earned them, and nobody can take that away from you. I'd like to wish you good luck and say thank you. All the best. Bye-bye.